When a group of bullies targeted the new black girl at Lincoln High, they thought she'd be an easy mark until they learned she was a black belt who could take them down in seconds. It was the start of the fall semester at Lincoln High School in a suburban town outside Atlanta. The hallways were a mix of nervous freshmen and confident seniors, all navigating the usual chaos of a new school year. Among them was 16-year-old Amara Jones, a transfer student who had just moved from Chicago with her mother, a nurse, and her younger brother, Caleb. Amara was tall, with a quiet confidence and dark skin that stood out in a school where the student body was mostly white. Her braided hair was neatly pulled back, and she carried a worn backpack, her eyes scanning her new surroundings with cautious curiosity. Amara's first day was uneventful, but by the second, she caught the attention of a group led by Jake Turner, a 17-year-old junior known for his sharp tongue and a knack for picking on anyone who seemed different. Jake, with his tousled blonde hair and a varsity football jacket, had a reputation for getting away with trouble. His crew, consisting of his best friend, Matt, and two other teammates, Kyle and Derek, followed his lead, their taunts a regular feature in the hallways. They targeted Amara almost immediately, noticing her quiet demeanor and assuming she'd be an easy target. It started small. During lunch, Jake accidentally bumped into Amara's tray, sending her apple rolling across the cafeteria floor. "Oops, sorry, new girl," he said, his smirk betraying his intent. His friend snickered, and a few nearby students glanced over, but said nothing. Amara picked up her apple, wiped it on her sleeve, and sat down without a word. She wasn't looking for trouble, and her mother had taught her to keep her head down in new places until she found her footing. But Jake and his crew didn't let up. By the end of the week, the taunts had escalated. They'd whisper, "Ghetto," as she passed in the hallway, loud enough for her to hear but quiet enough to avoid a teacher's notice. They'd leave crude notes in her locker, mocking her braided hair or her Chicago accent. Amara ignored it, focusing on her classes, AP Biology, English, and History, where she quickly impressed her teachers with her sharp mind. But the bullying weighed on her, a constant hum of hostility she couldn't fully escape. Amara wasn't just any new student, though. Back in Chicago, she'd trained in martial arts since she was 8, earning her black belt in Taekwondo by 15. Her dojo had been a second home, a place where she learned discipline, focus, and how to defend herself. Her instructor, Master Kim, had drilled into her that her skills were for protection, not showboating. Amara took that lesson seriously, keeping her training private. At Lincoln High, no one knew about her abilities. Not her teachers, not her classmates, and certainly not Jake. The bullying intensified in the second week. One afternoon, as Amara walked to her locker after gym class, Jake and his crew cornered her in a quiet hallway near the gym. The school was mostly empty, with most students already at after-school activities. Jake leaned against a locker, blocking her path. "What's up, city girl?" he said, his tone mocking. "You think you're too good for us, huh? Always so quiet, like you're better than everybody." Amara kept her eyes on her locker, her voice steady. "I just want to get my stuff and go home," she said. Matt stepped closer, smirking. "Maybe you should go back to Chicago," he said. "This ain't your place." Kyle and Derek laughed, egging each other on. Amara's heart raced, but she kept her composure. She'd been in tense situations before, sparring matches, street encounters in her old neighborhood, but this felt different. It wasn't just about her. It was about the principal. She thought of her mother, working double shifts to give her and Caleb a better life, and her brother, who looked up to her. She didn't want to fight, but she wasn't going to let them walk over her. Jake took it further. He grabbed her backpack from her shoulder and tossed it to Matt, who caught it and dangled it out of reach. "Come on, new girl, show us what you got," Jake taunted. Amara's eyes narrowed. She took a deep breath, her training kicking in. "Give it back," she said, her voice low but firm. Jake laughed, stepping closer, invading her space. "Or what?" he said, shoving her shoulder lightly. That was his mistake. In a flash, Amara's instincts took over. She grabbed his wrist, twisted it just enough to make him wince, and swept his legs out from under him with a precise Taekwondo move. Jake hit the floor hard, his breath escaping in a grunt. Before Matt could react, Amara spun, knocking the backpack from his hands with a controlled strike to his forearm. Kyle and Derek froze, their bravado gone. The entire encounter lasted less than 10 seconds. Jake scrambled to his feet, his face red with embarrassment and anger. "You're gonna regret that," he spat, but he didn't come closer. Amara stood her ground, her stance relaxed but ready. "I don't want to fight," she said. "But I will if you make me." The commotion drew the attention of a janitor, Mr. Harris, who rounded the corner just as Jake was dusting himself off. "What's going on here?" Mr. Harris demanded, his eyes moving from Amara's calm demeanor to Jake's flushed face. Jake muttered something about a misunderstanding, but Mr. Harris wasn't buying it. He escorted the group to the principal's office, Amara included, to sort things out. Principal Carter, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s, listened as Jake and his friends spun a story about Amara starting the fight. Amara stayed quiet, letting them talk. She knew the truth, and she suspected the school's security cameras in the hallway would back her up. When Principal Carter asked for her side, Amara spoke clearly. "They took my backpack and wouldn't give it back," she said. "Jake pushed me, so I defended myself. I didn't want to hurt anyone." The principal reviewed the camera footage later that day. It showed exactly what Amara described: Jake's taunting, the backpack grab, and Amara's swift, controlled response. By the next morning, Jake, Matt, Kyle, and Derek were suspended for a week, with a warning that further incidents would lead to expulsion. The school's zero-tolerance policy on bullying was clear, and Principal Carter made sure it was enforced. Word of the incident spread like wildfire. By lunchtime, students were whispering about the new girl who'd taken down Jake Turner without breaking a sweat. Some called her a hero. Others were wary, unsure of what to make of her. Amara didn't seek the attention. She sat alone at lunch, her earbuds in, trying to focus on her history homework. But a few students approached her, curious and respectful. One of them, a shy sophomore named Lila, asked if Amara could teach her some moves. "Maybe one day," Amara said with a small smile. The bullying didn't stop entirely, but it changed. Jake and his crew kept their distance, their egos bruised. Other students who might have targeted Amara thought twice, knowing she wasn't defenseless. She started to make friends: Lila, a few kids from her biology class, and even a senior on the debate team who admired her composure. Amara's mother, when she heard about the incident, was both proud and worried. "You did what you had to," she told Amara, "but be careful. Not everyone will take kindly to you standing up like that." Amara's reputation grew quietly. She joined the school's self-defense club, where she shared some of her taekwondo knowledge, earning respect from the coach and her peers. The club became a safe space for students who felt vulnerable, and Amara found herself becoming a leader without meaning to. She didn't talk much about the incident with Jake, but it shaped how others saw her, not as a victim, but as someone who could hold her own. Jake, meanwhile, faced his own fallout. His suspension cost him a spot on the football team's starting lineup, and his parents, prominent in the community, were furious. They grounded him for a month and made him volunteer at a local community center, hoping to teach him some humility. Jake's friends distanced themselves, not wanting to risk their own reputations. By the time he returned to school, he was quieter, his usual swagger gone. The school administration took steps to address the broader issue of bullying. Principal Carter organized assemblies on respect and inclusivity, and teachers were trained to spot and address harassment early. Amara's incident wasn't mentioned directly, but it was the unspoken catalyst. Some students grumbled about the new rules, but others, especially those who'd been targets themselves, felt safer. Amara kept training, both in her taekwondo classes after school and in her schoolwork. She earned top grades, particularly in science, and started talking about becoming a doctor like her mother. Her brother, Caleb, bragged about her to his friends, calling her the toughest sister ever. Amara laughed it off, but she felt a quiet pride. She'd come to Lincoln High as an outsider, but she was carving out her place, one day at a time. The story of that hallway confrontation lingered, shared in hushed tones by students who passed it on like a legend. It wasn't just about a fight. It was about a girl who refused to be broken, who turned her strength into a shield for herself and others. Amara didn't seek the spotlight, but she'd earned it, proving that sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you underestimate at your own risk.